Welcome back. This is David Patrick Harry with Church of the Eternal Logos. And today I want to briefly address the upcoming debate between Jay Dyer and the Kurgan regarding Sedevacantism. And so in this video, I just want to discuss why I think Jay Dyer is going to demolish the Kurgan in this debate, and just give you my 2 cents on the sort of things that have transpired in the last few days in regard to this sort of brewing controversy in the alternative Christian sort of social media sphere. And so I just want to give you a few of my thoughts regarding Sedevacantism and things that have happened, and tell you why I think Jay Dyer is going to win, and maybe, hopefully, you guys will end up watching the debate. So to begin, a lot of you already know that I am a fan of Dyer's apologetics. He does the presuppositional tag approach, the transcendental argument for God, and then will do a sort of comparative worldview, or at the paradigmatic level, compare worldviews using the coherentist theory of truth. And I think this is a very powerful apologetical approach. And then in addition to me being very fond of his apologetics, his religious orientation, he is Orthodox. And so as you guys know on this channel, we discuss logos theology from the Orthodox understanding. Logos, logoi, energy, essence, distinction, this type of thing. So yes, I have an affinity towards Dyer. But anybody who's watched his debates on Catholicism or against other Catholics would be aware that he is extremely formidable, and would be devastating in regards to a sort of debate on Sedevacantism. So what is Sedevacantism? Well, it's a title for a group of traditional Catholics that the number of which is actually unknown. We don't know if it's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but it comes from the Latin phrase sedevacante, and it refers to the vacancy of the seat of Peter, or the papacy. And so the Sedevacantists believe that the papal seat has been vacant since 1958, and this has to do with the ending of the papal reign of Pope Pius XII. So since then, and this is related to obviously Vatican II, which happens right after Pope Pius XII in the early 60s. I think it ends in 65, I'm not positive. But they associate the Second Vatican Council with the kind of beginning of modernism in the church. And I think most people would actually agree with this position. And since then, the Catholic Church has just moved to heresy after heresy, to the point now where you have Pope Francis, certainly a tool within the globalist agenda, the sort of one world government. So you've seen this immense ecumenicism through Pope Francis. You've seen him praying in mosques. You've seen Pachamama just recently, this sort of veneration of pagan fertility goddess who is associated with human sacrifice, by the way. You see the normalization of homosexuality amongst Catholicism. You see bishops pushing for abortion. You just see a total infighting, a real civil war within Catholicism regarding its values, its traditional stances on, just about everything, really. I've even seen tweets recently from Catholics talking about how the Mass is not a worship of Jesus. I mean, it's really getting to a crazy point. And this channel is not really about getting in discussions between the various denominations. As you know, I try to make content for Christendom. So I don't do a whole lot of attacking against the Protestants or the evangelicals or the Catholics, despite coming from an Orthodox perspective. However, Dyer certainly does, and he knows his stuff. And if you've watched his debates with other Catholics, usually he blows them out of the water because he spent so much time within Catholicism being a Thomist, and before that being a Calvinist. So Dyer really knows his stuff, and if you watch some of his videos just critiquing the papacy in general, that is the whole house of cards that the Sedevacantist position sits on. So the Kurgan is coming to this debate, I guess, debating the vacancy of the seat when Dyer is going to demolish the whole concept of the papacy as an entirely circular argument of really legitimating papal documents and papal authority. It's just this continual kind of circular reasoning. And this was not the traditional approach of the church, as you guys would probably know from this channel. He is just the bishop of Rome. And so often Catholics will say, well, Peter was handed the keys, and Peter founded the church in Rome. Yes, but Peter also founded the church in Antioch before Rome. Does that make the Antiochian church the official church? Does that mean the Pope needs to be the Antiochian Pope? Of course not, because the original position was a group of bishops, and that they would come together through these councils and make decisions regarding the church. This sort of democratic understanding is certainly the traditional understanding of the church, and then the movement, the real schism later in the 11th century, this is the formation of the papacy. And I would say this is the sort of first domino fall. There's others you could argue, but I would say this is the first major domino fall in regards to the kind of convergence of Christianity throughout history. And then it's a movement towards the Reformation in 1517, and so forth and so on, until now we have all these churches. Particularly, we see the convergence in Catholicism, Protestantism. Luckily for our evangelical friends, they tend to be more traditional. However, they're so kind of caught up with dispensationalist theology, they're really advocating for an entire Israeli Jewish understanding that is in opposition to traditional Christian understanding. But I digress there. So what has happened is that Vox Dei basically threw his support behind the Kurgan based on some email. Now, Jay Dyer did a 2-hour stream on Sedevacantism. I didn't happen to see that stream. And I guess this Kurgan guy really took offense to that. And he's made a handful of videos about Dyer. And I didn't watch any of them, but I did watch the one he made a few days ago, once, quote-unquote, Vox Dei convinced him to debate Dyer. So this Kurgan guy, he has made multiple videos attacking Jay Dyer, but then refused to debate Jay Dyer. So red flag there, obviously. But Vox Dei apparently convinced this Kurgan guy to debate Jay Dyer based on an email Vox Dei received from the Kurgan in which he believed totally destroys Jay Dyer's argument. And this certainly is not the case. Anybody who's familiar with theology, anybody who's kind of following these positions, the Orthodox position is the true position. And I know I'm biased saying that, but it really just showed a sort of lack of understanding from Vox Dei, who I'm a fan of, and I like Vox Dei. I like his writings. I like his books. I like what he's doing over on unauthorized.tv. I like that he's republishing, the junior classics and stuff like that. So Vox Dei is doing a lot of things. I have no beef towards Vox Dei. I think he maybe just threw his support behind the Kurgan based on their friendship or something, but certainly not based on a sort of sophisticated analysis of theology. But anyways, that sort of caused some controversy, some shots fired, some waves in the water, where Jay Dyer essentially said, I'll debate both of you guys. And Vox Dei doesn't want to debate. He claims that theology is boring and it's not his subject, and he don't want to debate anything like that. Okay. But he did have a position that said that he supported Kurgan and that Kurgan blew Jay Dyer's position out of the water, but then said he doesn't actually know Jay Dyer's position totally. So that is where I think things are a little bit frustrating. And that really kind of brings us to the modern point, is if you guys follow Vox Dei on the dark stream, if you follow Jay Dyer on Twitter or Instagram or on his YouTube channel, Jay's Analysis, certainly this upcoming debate, you've probably already seen what I'm talking about in regard to these kind of controversies. So I just wanted to make a quick video highlighting it and highlighting how I think Dyer is going to destroy the Kurgan, because the whole, and I don't know his framing, but I assume his framing is that they're going to be debating the vacancy of the seat of Peter, when really Dyer is going to destroy the whole concept of papal legitimacy, and it's not even going to be close. So that's why I think Dyer is absolutely going to win. Another thing regarding events that have transpired in the sort of Christian alternative sphere in the last few weeks was a interview with E. Michael Jones that I saw with a Jewish gentleman who converted to Orthodoxy. So as you guys know, I like E. Michael Jones, just like I like Vox Day, and I've made some video montages using audio of E. Michael Jones and trying to highlight some of his ideas using pictures and art and stuff like this. So, however, recently he was in a interview with a Jewish man who converted to Orthodoxy, and he made a passing comment that really left me scratching my head. And this comment was that his experience with Russian Orthodox led him to the assumption that there's a lot of Neoplatonism, or that Orthodoxy is Neoplatonic. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? The energy essence distinction totally prevents any sort of Neoplatonic interpretation of our theology. And him being a Thomist is way, way more, synonymous, way closer to a Neoplatonic understanding of sort of the one and oneness, and the kind of being subsumed by the one in regards to absolute divine simplicity, things like this, than Orthodoxy is. I mean, anybody who's familiar with scholasticism, and many of those famous scholastic theologians, many of them are influenced by Neoplatonism. And not to mention, post-Council of Florence, we have the sort of translation of the Hermetic Corpus, the translation of Plato, and a new revival within Catholicism regarding Neoplatonism, which really is the spark most people point to as the beginning of the Western esoteric tradition, the whole Western tradition of magic that leads to alchemy and all this stuff. Not that, alchemy didn't exist back in Egypt. We all know Thoth, we know Hermes, we understand this stuff, but within the Western context, within the Western esoteric context, it's when Marsilio Ficino, being hired by Cosimo de' Medici in the mid-15th century, starts to translate Plato, and then eventually they find the Hermetic Corpus and stops his translation of Plato, translates the Hermetic Corpus, and this is the beginning of magic. And sort of Marsilio Ficino was famous for using the Hermetic ideas and Neoplatonic understandings and the Orphic hymns to sort of evoke magical understandings of music and colors and sympathetic connections regarding the universe. So for E. Michael Jones to say that Orthodoxy is Neoplatonic really left me scratching my head, and I assume he just doesn't know anything about Orthodoxy. I just assume he was just kind of speaking out of his ass there, and I'm trying not to hold anything against him. Now, Jay Dyer, according to him, has offered to debate E. Michael Jones 3 times, all of which have been denied, and to a degree I can understand. I don't take Jones to necessarily be a debater, and I do think, again, Dyer would probably destroy him in a debate, especially regarding Catholicism, especially regarding the absolute divine simplicity or the Thomist tradition, or papal legitimacy, any of this stuff. I think Dyer would destroy. So I just wanted to highlight some of these things, some of these thoughts, give you my 2 cents on where I think things are, why I think Dyer is going to dominate, and then what was Sedevacantism, and this whole understanding of the emptying of St. Peter, or even this whole idea of St. Peter and the keys of Rome, or having the keys and the papacy in Rome. I mean, you just can read your Bible and see that Peter first founded the church in Antioch, which is the church that I'm trying to be chrismated in terms of the Antiochian Orthodox Church. So that's all I wanted to say. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. What do you guys think? Are you aware of this controversy? Do you agree with my analysis? Do you think Jay Dyer is going to dominate? Are you coming from the Catholic perception and believe that Sedevacantist is a right, or Sedevacantism is a right, or that the Kurgan's going to win, or maybe you're an anti-Trinitarian person like Vox Day? I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. Maybe you have some ideas on the E. Michael Jones situation, his brief comments regarding Orthodoxy as being Neoplatonic. Maybe you guys kind of saw that interview. It was a fairly good interview, but that one really left me scratching my head. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? Anybody familiar with Orthodoxy compared to the Latin West knows that Catholicism is way more Platonic. Even the Filioque kind of insinuates a sort of emanationist understanding of, well, anyways, let me know what you guys think. Leave comment in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please share the video. So until next time, as always, God bless.